Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Album Spotlight, the show where I put the spotlight on a new album in progressive rock or related genres that I think you'll enjoy if you have similar tastes as me, and if you're watching my channel, you probably do. I enjoy progressive rock most of all, but just forward-thinking music, things that sound modern and fresh, but delve into the past for inspiration. These are the types of things that really sing to me and are my favorite kind of music. And I have a great one today, a more obscure artist, I would say, compared to some of the other prog artists that I cover in these full-length reviews. But I want to give the spotlight to this because it's one of my favorite albums of the year. Will probably feature on my top 16 tournament that I do at the end of the year of my favorite records of 2025. So I wanted to give this its due. And this is smalltape, and the record is called Tangram. And I've been really loving this to death. It's a really cool little album that is just really expertly produced, sounds really pristine, and has a whole host of interesting influences that it brings to the table, and sounds different than the standard retro prog that you might hear in this progressive rock scene. So it feels a bit more fresh and more modern and more nuanced, and I really am liking that sound quite a bit. So as a little bit of a background, smalltape was formed as a solo project of musician sound designer Philip Nesbital. He is from Germany, and because he's dealing with sound design and kind of his normal everyday job, these albums have a really great production value to them. Like, they sound really pristine. You get a lot of ear candy, and that's part of what appeals to me to what is brought to the table with this record. And this is really, I believe, his fourth record. Really, I came into the scene with smalltape with the 2017 album The Ocean, which I thought was really excellent. And then, to me, a step up from there was The Hungry Heart from 2021, which I believe featured in my countdown of the favorite records from that year. So I was really excited to hear there was another smalltape record, and I know this record was kind of had more of a grassroots campaign, was done through Kickstarter for some of the physical release components of the record. So it took some mustering up the passion of the fans to get this project rolling and released in the way that the artist intended. But the result is really strong, and I just really have fallen in love with the aesthetic of this record and how fresh it sounds to my ears. And every track has something really expertly crafted within it to bring more attention and to give each piece kind of its own singular feel to it. And I think that's basically the theme and concept of this record. A tangram is basically a mosaic of different pieces that come together to form this kind of singular puzzle. And that's basically what you have here. You have basically, 7 different songs here. One of the songs, No Time, is split up into 3 parts throughout the record, but then you've got the other tracks slotted between those that make up the main meat of this record. So it's a really cool construction, and it works really well for me, and I think there's a little bit of something for everybody in this mixture, in this stew of music. Kind of the buzzwords, if you want kind of an idea of the bigger picture of what this sounds like. I think there's a lot in common with kind of Steven Wilson's style in how he produces records and how he draws from different styles and choices and doesn't just sound rooted purely in retro progressive rock. I think smalltape has a similar aesthetic. This album in particular has a very strong jazz influence. So if you like jazz, this is definitely going to appeal to you. There's some poppier influences, especially in some of the vocal melodies and how those resolve. There's also, like I've mentioned, proggy instances. There's definitely some inspiration from, say, a Genesis in some of the acoustic guitar work and some of the melodies that are being played on this record as well. There's kind of a cinematic feel to it. These cinematic soundscapes, these orchestrations that kind of make this feel more epic and, widen the scope of this record sonically. So those are some of the sounds that you can hear throughout the record. But going through it, Goodbye is the first like song proper, which comes with these big intense stabs of orchestration interwoven with lighter atmospheric music with a jazz tinged. Great melodic hooks throughout the vocals on this. We get this pulsing electronic sound and spacey atmosphere and tasteful keys about 3 minutes in. And then we get this acoustic guitar with a melody very reminiscent of Dancing with the Moonlit Night from Genesis. There's some light saxophone creating a really nice enchanting atmosphere, and we return to those big musical stabs and glitchy electronica, giving this epic flavor and a really interesting, varied first track. It's about 8 minutes long, but there's a lot of different things going on to give you an idea, to pull you into this world that Philip is trying to create. So it's a really fantastic opening and really got me excited and involved in the record. Second Chance comes up next, which is very beautiful, nice keys and vocals, a little bit of a darker atmosphere from the rhythms and keyboards, some breathy vocals, some light acoustic guitar magic sprinkled throughout. It gets more heavy and intense as it goes. There's a section where the music drops back a little bit and there's a vocal focus. It's definitely one of the more accessible tracks, but very satisfying musically as we get through this track list. We get the second part of the No Time trilogy coming next with some great jazzy keys, great vocal performance above some understated drums and jazzy keys, giving you a feeling of lightness and airiness in this little 4-minute interlude. Next, we get to Phoenix, which has an atmospheric quality with dreamy keys and excellent, thoughtful vocals leading to some moody sax playing and jazzy keyboard soloing. Picks up the pace throughout the runtime of the track, adds some shuffling drums and some interesting keyboard work as the music swells. What's really great about this track is its build. It builds and continues to grow in intensity before you get this kind of cinematic feel towards the end of it that is a really great composition and showcases a lot of talent. This is one of my favorite tracks of the record. I think it showcases a really expert way of composing tracks to have this epic build and the satisfying payoff. Celine is another one of my favorite tracks, an 8-minute ride that's much more acoustically driven, has almost a folky touch to it with gorgeous atmosphere. Love the chiming sounds of the acoustic guitar, almost this 12-string Genesis style flavor, a gorgeous sung melody, uplifting and majestic as orchestration bubbles up behind it. And this leads to a more acoustic, upbeat play out towards the end with kind of a folky, fun flavor, joyful, proggy atmosphere. I'm reminded of Neil Morse's The Separated Man, how it has kind of a acoustic jam section towards the end of it. And it's just a really beautiful expression, and I absolutely adore this track, which leads into the final section of No Time, part 3, which is just this extended jazzy instrumental that contains some fireworks playing on the keys, some really cool drumming work, some really cool drum work, some cool majestic vocalizations as this continues with this breezy and fun and uplifting flavor. It's a really great track and a great conclusion to this kind of No Time trilogy. Gold Digger is a short, sweet ballad, acoustic guitar and vocals kind of providing a little bit of a breather before we get into the finale of Tessellate with electronica pulses and infectious beats, some keyboard textures, orchestral string sounds, great vocals, wonderful sonic builds, great keyboard magic with jazzy undertones. There's a bit of a break in the middle of the track, giving way to some saxophone soloing before it builds once again to an epic climax. Just like the track I mentioned, Phoenix, this has another epic build to it and a great satisfying payoff as it just gives you this sonic tapestry of wonder and brilliance and majesty to end the record on. So a really fantastic voyage through many different sounds in this 50-minute album that really delights me. It has a great blend of that poppiness that I really enjoy, that brings me and draws me in, but enough experimentation and different genre blending and those types of things to really keep me excited and returning for repeat listens. It's very artistically done. Like I said, I feel like Smalltape has kind of a similar aesthetic to Steven Wilson, where it's very driven by the artistry and takes from disparate elements. To me, this is kind of akin to what Stephen Wilson was trying to do with the Harmony Codex, trying to bring in some different styles and create something that was sonically satisfying with great production values. And I think this succeeds maybe in an even better way than the Harmony Codex does. So really fabulous. There's some interesting guests here. Mostly it's just Philip Nespatal doing all of the instrumentation and vocals and everything else. But we do have a guitar solo from Bruce Sword, who apparently has worked with smalltape in the past. And you get some other kind of soloing, some saxophone playing from a variety of different people and such, giving some of those orchestral elements from a bunch of different extra musicians, but the bass, the core of the music is done by Philip. So a fantastic record that I can't recommend enough. It's a little bit different than kind of your standard retro prog. I typically tend to talk about stuff that sounds much more like Yes and Genesis and Gentle Giant and Jethro Tull and the Spock's Beard and Flower Kings kind of world and aesthetic. But this is a little bit more nuanced, very much more jazz focused on this record in particular. The previous record, The Hungry Heart, is an excellent recommendation as well if you want to dive into the world of small tape. There's a big epic on that one. That one's probably a bit more accessible, a bit more prog flavored than this one is, but I think I'm kind of glad that an artist like this is willing to do something a bit different, not just make the same record over again. And that's what I really enjoy about a great artist, is they're willing to explore and expand and do something different and follow their heart and their artistry and craft something that's just really beautifully composed and well realized. So definitely a strong recommendation. Like I mentioned, it'll probably be in my year-end list of favorite records, and I'm really excited for you guys to go check it out. Hopefully you're able to find it and listen to it. It's available on different streaming services. It's available on his Bandcamp page as well if you want to purchase a download. I'm sure there's other ways to purchase physical media as well, but definitely support the artist, and I'm grateful to be able to talk to you guys. Hopefully you appreciated this episode, and please join me for future episodes if you're so inclined. Thank you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you out there. Enjoy the music, everybody. Bye.